Why do we hold on so tightly to people who barely hold space for us in their lives? You text them constantly, you make yourself available at every turn, you bend over backwards to prove your worth, and yet somehow you still feel invisible. But here's what nobody tells you about letting people miss you. And by the end of this, you'll understand why the most successful relationships require something that terrifies most people. You've become so afraid of being forgotten that you've forgotten yourself. You've convinced yourself that your presence needs to be constant, that your love needs to be loud, that your worth needs to be proven over and over again. But there's a dangerous trap hidden in this behavior that's actually pushing people further away, and I'll reveal exactly what that is in just a moment. First, let me tell you about the biggest lie you've been told about love and connection. You were taught that love means never letting go, that caring means always being there, that commitment means constant contact. But that's not love. That's fear dressed up as devotion. And this fear is creating 3 specific problems that are sabotaging every relationship you try to build. The first problem is that you're robbing people of the chance to actually want you. Think about it. When was the last time you truly missed someone? Not just wanted their attention, but genuinely felt their absence in your life. It wasn't when they were constantly reaching out, constantly available, constantly trying to fill every silence. It was when they stepped back, when they created space, when they trusted that what you had was strong enough to survive a little distance. But here's where it gets complicated, and this is the second problem that most people never recognize. When you're always there, always responding, always accommodating, you're actually training people to take you for granted. You're teaching them that your attention has no value because it's always available. But there's a psychological reason why this happens, and understanding it will change everything about how you approach relationships. The human brain is wired to value scarcity. We want what we can't have, and we take for granted what's always available. This isn't manipulation, it's basic psychology. When you make yourself constantly available, you're triggering the exact opposite response than what you're hoping for. You're making yourself common instead of valuable. But the solution isn't what you think it is. Most people hear this and think they need to play games. They think letting someone miss you means being cold or distant or manipulative. That's the third problem, and it's why this strategy fails for so many people. They turn letting someone miss you into a performance instead of understanding what it really means. Letting them miss you isn't about games. It's about recognizing your own value and trusting that real connections will survive the test of space, while superficial ones will reveal themselves for what they truly are. But here's what's really happening when you step back, and this is the part that will make everything click into place. When you create space, you're not just giving them room to miss you. You're giving yourself room to remember who you are when you're not performing for someone else's attention. You're rediscovering your own worth independent of their validation. And this creates something powerful that attracts people naturally. But there's a crucial distinction here that determines whether this works or backfires completely. The difference between healthy space and emotional withdrawal comes down to one thing, and if you get this wrong, you'll push people away instead of drawing them closer. The key is intention. Are you stepping back because you're trying to manipulate a response, or are you stepping back because you're investing in your own life? Are you creating space to play games, or are you creating space because you recognize that healthy relationships require room to breathe and grow? This brings us to the concept of letting go, but not in the way most people think. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop trying to control the outcome. You release your death grip on how things should unfold and allow room for how they're meant to unfold. But there's a specific way to do this that most people get wrong. You've been holding on so tightly because you believe that your effort equals your worth. You think that if you're not constantly doing something, constantly reaching out, constantly trying, then you don't deserve love. But effort without boundaries isn't love, it's desperation. And desperation repels the very thing you're trying to attract. Here's what letting go actually looks like in practice. And this is where most people fail because they don't understand the balance. It means you stop being the first one to text, but you don't ignore them when they reach out. It means you stop filling every silence with words, but you're still present when conversation flows naturally. It means you stop making plans around their availability and start making plans that fulfill you. But none of this works without the final piece, and this is the most important part that ties everything together. You have to trust the universe, but not in the way most people think. Trusting the universe isn't about blind faith or magical thinking. It's about recognizing that there are forces at work beyond your immediate control, and that sometimes the best thing you can do is align yourself with those forces instead of fighting against them. When you trust the universe, You're trusting that what's meant for you will find you. You're trusting that the right people will recognize your value without you having to constantly advertise it. You're trusting that love, real love, doesn't require you to diminish yourself to make others comfortable. But here's the paradox that makes this so powerful. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you become worth chasing. The moment you stop trying to prove your worth is the moment your worth becomes obvious. The moment you trust that you're enough is the moment others start to see it too. This process isn't easy. There will be moments when the silence feels deafening. There will be times when your phone doesn't buzz and you'll wonder if you've made a terrible mistake. There will be days when you question whether you're being too distant, too cold, too unavailable. But in those moments, remember this truth that changes everything. Every healthy relationship in your life exists because both people chose to be there, not because they were trapped by convenience or habit or guilt, but because they actively decided that this connection adds value to their life. You want to be chosen, not settled for. You want to be missed, not taken for granted. The people who are meant to be in your life will make an effort to stay there when you step back. They'll notice your absence and do something about it. They'll reach out not because they need something from you, but because they value something about you. And the people who don't, they were never really yours to begin with. When you let them miss you, let go, and trust the universe, you create space for magic to happen. You allow for possibilities you couldn't have imagined when you were trying to control every outcome. You open yourself up to connections that are based on mutual appreciation rather than one-sided pursuit. The universe has a way of bringing the right people into your life at the right time, but only when you're not desperately clinging to the wrong ones. Only when you've created enough space in your life for something better to enter. Only when you trust that you deserve love that comes easily, naturally, without you having to convince anyone of your worth. Your worth doesn't depend on their response. Your value isn't determined by their attention. You are enough, exactly as you are, whether they realize it or not.